What is up, YouTube? So, in the last video, I talked about the swim course. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the bike course. And to me, this is where you're gonna wanna listen because there's all kind of hazards, like basically the first 5 miles in Tennessee, some places on Cove Road, that big old hill on Andrews, coming out of Chickamauga, and then smoking it back into Tennessee. So have a listen, tell me what you think, leave a like, comment, don't forget to subscribe. I forgot that in the first video. So see you guys, good luck. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video on the swim. Now I'm gonna talk to you about the bike course. This is 56.6 miles. Ironman doesn't tell you that little part, but it's always a little bit long, in the distance. I think I've ridden it a million times. I always get about 56.6 miles. I mean, but it's GPS, so it's 56 miles. Anyway, you're going to start in, coming out of transition here in the corner. You're going to go up. You're going to come out right here. There'll be a spot somewhere about right here for you to jump on your bike, and you're going to come up this way. Now, this is an area for concern. This is a concrete, an old highway. They call it's the riverfront, whatever it's called, like River Parkway right here. It used to be 4 lanes, now it's basically two, but it's a concrete road that has a lot of cracks in them. I mean, I've dug my front wheel into that one of the cracks right here. You'll see as you're coming up. So just be aware of what's going on as you're coming up this hill. Get your shoes on, get relaxed on the bike. I wouldn't go in the arrow coming up this hill. Most people won't anyway, unless you're like Hercules or something. But just be aware of your surroundings as you're coming through this way. You don't want to, fall into one of those cracks, break a spoke, or blow a tire or whatnot, as you're heading out. So once you get over this hill, you're gonna come around. This was a nice, I mean, when I say nice, it's still concrete, but it's not a bad road. It's a kind of a wide road to ride on. You won't feel a lot of people on top of you. You'll come around the bend. There'll be right around here is going to be some old railroad tracks. So there's a couple of railroad tracks on this course. And I highly recommend, as someone who's broken a stem on this course on railroad tracks, I highly recommend once you see a railroad tracks, get out of arrow, get up on your bars, kind of evenly distribute your weight. That way, you're not putting a lot of weight on one part of the bike where, I mean, and something can go wrong. I've heard cases where another person's stem is broken. I mean, right here is going to be it's a bottle rocket launcher. So there you'll see bottles, and you don't want to run over a bottle on a tri bike because you can go down there too. You're not gonna crash or anything, but just be aware. This will be the first one. And then once you get over these railroad tracks, you're gonna go, on 20th, turn right on the market, head out. This is a much better road to ride on. We're gonna come over a bridge where you're going over the Chattanooga Creek. I mean, it's a bridge because there's a set of railroad tracks going underneath it. Come over the bridge, and yes, you're gonna hit. To me, this is like the worst railroad tracks right here. This is where I broke my stem in 2017. Almost caused the end of my day. But like I said, you see the railroad tracks. Ironman normally puts a mat right here, but I mean, it's still a rocket launcher, all that fun stuff. So just be aware right there. Come on down. You're gonna hit, a T section. You're gonna go around a cemetery, head out on the Tennessee Avenue, look for 44th, I believe. Yeah, 44th, and then take a immediate right. It'll go down. You'll come back right up, and then you'll turn left onto San Elmo. This is also an interesting road. I don't even know what kind of I mean, it's not asphalt. It's not concrete. But it's more concrete than asphalt. There's a bike lane in it, but I wouldn't ride a mountain bike in that bike lane. And sometimes people put out their, trash dumpsters in that bike lane. So just be aware. This isn't the best road to ride on. As far as with a tri bike, but you'll come all the way in through San Elmo. It's a nice little ride, and then once you hit the state line, that's where the race begins. I mean, you can get really arrow. You can push some serious wads coming down 193. It's a highway, so you'll feel like you can ride this road hard. I mean, it's mostly flat, big lane. You know, just flying. You'll come up um, to you'll keep going. Then it'll eventually it'll kind of you'll come up to like a where is it? Come up to like a four-way, intersection. This is kind of where you come back, but there's a little intersection. There's a Dollar Tree over here, a little bank or State Farm right here, and then it kind of narrows down a little bit, and you this is kind of where you'll start hitting the rollers. You'll start slowing down. The road gets a little more narrow. You're just kind of just keep going. You still got a long way to go. I mean, the road is nice all the way through here down 193. But there's a couple rollers. I think around Cloudland Station, you're gonna get out of the saddle and hit this roller. I will say if you time these exactly right, get a good momentum going downhill, you should be able to roll over these with very little effort. But there's a couple rollers, and I think one of them's Cloudland Station where you're going to be pedaling, like you're going up the side of a mountain, but just maybe like 10, 20 seconds. It's a bigger roller. Keep going, 193. You're coming up here. Then you'll hit this intersection right here. Usually there's a Dollar General. It's the South. There's a lot of Dollar Generals and a gas station right here. The road gets a little. I mean, this is all new pavement once you got into Georgia to about right here. Once you get to about right here, it's not new pavement, but it's not bad. I mean, I've heard stories, places out in California where it's just like bumpy the whole way. This isn't bad. I mean, this is decent riding. Keep coming. You'll go down, and then the road's gonna bend, and you're gonna turn on the Cove Road. Right before you turn on the Cove Road, I know there's always a little. It's not a pothole, but it's just a little divot in the road. Just make sure you're watching where you're going as you're about to enter Cove Road. Um, Cove Road isn't the best road either. There's some places where the road's kind of beat up, but it's only in the very beginning, and then it's mostly flat. There's a little bit like coming all the way, in the south of Tennessee, in Georgia. There's rollers, but it's mostly a flat course. You're still riding at a. I mean, you can go over 20 miles an hour pretty easily, through here. Cove Road, you're on for about 3, 4 miles, and then you're going to start really picking up a lot of speed, and you'll be like, "Oh man, this is getting easy." Well, once you start doing that, that's where Ironman turns you on to Andrews. And Andrews, for about 1,000 feet, is anywhere between 7 to 11% climb. So you're gonna go from flying down Cove Road to having to like make a hard left. And if you're not in the right gear right here, you can you there's times where I mean I've dropped my chain. I've seen people break their rear derailleur hanger. Um, People walk up this section right here. So if you're in the right gear, you can hit this just right. Normally there'll be a police officer right here directing traffic. If you start seeing blue lights, shift down into the granny gear. Get ready for Andrews. And once you get to Andrews, you know, get to this little section right here. This is a cemetery. Once you get about right here, it is all downhill. Like you're gonna fly. I mean, Arrow, they set up the photographer right here to get an amazing picture of you. So make sure you smile. And the reason they do that is because this part right here is just, I mean, you're gonna fly. I mean, everything you lost here, you're gonna pick up on the backside. And once you get all the way through Andrews, which is a very short road, you'll turn on the Hog Jail. I know, welcome to North Georgia. Hog Jail. And Hog Jail is also a good road to ride on. I mean, all the rollers are in the front. The rest is, I mean, there's some false flats, but it's just, I mean, you can pick up everything you lost around Andrews coming all the way back. Hog Jail is going to turn into Cove Road, and then you'll go across, a major intersection right here. And once you cross this major intersection, I think you got about 8 miles to Chickamauga. And you can, this is not a bad road to ride on. I mean, good pavement, just coming all the way in on Cove Road. It turns into 341. Right around here, there's some, rumble strips because you're coming up to a four-way stop. You don't have to stop for that. It's a race. You know, you're on 341 Cove Road, and then you're coming into there's a couple rollers through here. Not a lot. Like I said, the road is just it's a nice road to ride on. A lot of it's been repaved. A good section of this Georgia course has been repaved. You're gonna come in all the way into, you'll see the Dollar General. Once again, welcome to Georgia. I think there's three on the course. If you ever ride here for training purposes, I always stop at Dollar General's because they have cold drinks. Right in the Cove Road. Then this is when you're gonna get a Chickamauga. You will fly through here. I mean, you're like, oh, I feel like $1 million. You're gonna pass the Mexican place, come up to an intersection, and then once you get through Chickamauga, then it kind of starts to slow down. And I call this section the climb out of Chickamauga because you're gonna make this hard left and you're just kind of gonna lose all momentum because it's like a false flat for a long time. It's windy. There's not a lot of chance to like really get comfortable through here because you just feel like you're not going as fast as you were in the last 10, 15 miles. It's just a slow, 1 to 2%, or a false flat, just climb out of Chickamauga until you get, you know, this little pig market. Like I said, it's very windy through here, so you can't really pick up any speed. And then you're gonna come up to, I think about right here, and then it's gonna kick up to the very top. And once you get to about right here, it's at the very top of this hill. From the top of this hill all the way down to this intersection, I mean, this is the chance you could hit 50 miles an hour. It is fast. If you don't like downhills, this is where you better hold on because this is a nice, just, I mean, I love to just fly through this section. I know everybody isn't a big fan of going downhills on small, tiny tires, but this is my favorite part of the section. This is where you pick up a lot of that average speed that you lost, through that climb out of Chickamauga. And then you'll turn right. There's a little kick up here you'll need to spin out on, but same thing all the way through here, is just downhill. There's an aid station right here. I forgot to mention the first two, but the first one is about mile 15. The second one is around like, mile 30. This is about mile 45, right before you head back into town. You're going back into town, and normally, you're just ready to get done. This, like I said, coming out and going back in just feels amazing on this course. This is where you head down, big wide road, nobody around you. You can just hammer all the way through back into Tennessee. And then once you get back into Tennessee, you're back on St. Elmo. It'll go. I mean, that road is my favorite. As far as my butt, seat gets a little uncomfortable riding this part of the road. We'll turn right here at the church, um, and then we'll about right here, and then you'll get on the Tennessee Avenue. And Tennessee is, this is mostly going uphill. So once you get to about right here, all the way to the cemetery, it's a nice downhill. I saw Daniela Reef come through here in 2017 at Worlds, and she was flying, probably doing like, I don't know, looked like 30 miles an hour. She's probably like doing 25, but all by herself. I mean, you can just fly right through here, and it's nice. And so, and then you'll curl around the cemetery once again, and then Alton Park turns into Market Street. Coming back the exact same we did. Then you'll turn back on the 20th. Yes, those railroad tracks are still there, so make sure you're aware of where they are right here. And Once you get on the 20th, that's a fun road to ride on too. The railroad tracks are still there. There could be a couple bottles, so just be careful. And then that uphill becomes a downhill, so you'll have a lot of speed coming in transition. So just be careful. All right. So, um, you know, dismount line is here. You'll see all the volunteers telling you slow down, and then you'll come back into transition. So that's it for the bike course. The last part I'll cover is the run course in the next video. So thanks for listening. Good luck out there.